The envelope was unmarked. At exactly 4:47 p.m. on May 3, 1973, inside the recording studio at Golden Harvest headquarters in Hong Kong, Bruce Lee was watching the final mix of a music video for Enter the Dragon's promotional campaign. The film was nearly complete. The marketing machine was beginning to turn. Posters, trailers, and now, a music video featuring the film's theme song, designed to build anticipation across international markets. Bruce was there as an observer, not a participant. The musicians had recorded their parts. The video footage had been edited. All that remained was the final approval before distribution. Then a production assistant approached him with an envelope. "Mr. Lee, this was delivered for you. No return address. The messenger said you should read it before the video plays." Bruce took the envelope. Plain white. No markings. Nothing to indicate its origin. He opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, covered in handwriting he didn't recognize. He read the first line, and his hands began to tremble. This is the story of the letter that arrived at the perfect moment. The message that was never supposed to be public, and the discovery that made Bruce Lee understand, for the first time, why his life's work actually mattered. This is the message hidden in the music. Hong Kong, May 1973. Enter the Dragon was in its final stages of post-production. The film represented everything Bruce Lee had worked toward. His largest budget, his widest distribution, his first true Hollywood production with global reach. Warner Brothers was investing heavily in promotion. The marketing team wanted something modern, something that would appeal to international audiences, something that transcended the typical martial arts film advertising. They decided on a music video. The concept was simple. Footage from the film's most iconic sequences, edited to an original theme song composed specifically for Enter the Dragon. The video would be distributed to television stations worldwide, building anticipation before the premiere. The recording session took place at Golden Harvest Studio. A full orchestra, a choir, a production team of 30 people working to create something unprecedented for a martial arts film. Bruce had been involved in the early stages, approving the musical direction, reviewing the footage selection. But the final mixing session was supposed to be routine, a formality. Sign off on the completed product and move on to the next promotional task. He arrived at the studio at 4:30 p.m. Raymond Chow was there. The film's composer, Lalo Schifrin, was present via telephone connection from Los Angeles. Various producers and technicians filled the control room. The atmosphere was professional but celebratory. They were creating something new, something that would introduce Bruce Lee to audiences who had never seen a Hong Kong martial arts film. At 4:45 p.m., as the final preparations were being made for playback, a production assistant approached Bruce. "Mr. Lee, this was delivered for you." She handed him an unmarked white envelope. Bruce looked at it curiously. "No return address. Who sent this?" "I don't know, sir. A messenger delivered it about 20 minutes ago. He said you should read it before the video plays. He was very specific about that." Bruce examined the envelope. Plain. Unremarkable. Somehow that made it more intriguing. He opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded twice. Handwritten in careful, deliberate script. He unfolded it and began to read. The letter had no formal greeting. It began simply. "You don't know me. We've never met. But you saved my life." Bruce's expression changed. The professional composure shifted to something more attentive, more present. He continued reading. "My name is David Chen. I'm 17 years old. I live in San Francisco. I'm writing this because I don't know how else to say what I need to say. 3 years ago, I tried to kill myself. I was the only Asian kid in my school. I was bullied every day, called names I won't repeat, beaten up in bathrooms where teachers never came, made to feel like I was worthless, ugly, invisible. I believed them. I believed everything they said about me. I believed that being Asian meant being less than, being weak, being wrong." Bruce's hands were trembling now. He was aware that people in the studio were watching him, but he couldn't stop reading. "The night I decided to end it, I was alone in my room. My parents were at work. They always worked. Restaurant hours. I had pills. I had written a note. I was ready. Then I turned on the television, and I saw you. Subscribe and leave a comment." Because what David wrote next would change how Bruce Lee understood everything. The letter continued. "It was a rerun of the Green Hornet. I had seen it before, but never really watched. This time, something made me pay attention. I saw Kato. I saw a man who looked like me, who had the same face, the same eyes, the same skin that everyone at school told me was ugly and wrong. But Kato wasn't weak. Kato wasn't a joke. Kato was powerful, fast, capable. He wasn't the sidekick in the usual sense. He was the hero in everything but name. I watched for 20 minutes. Then I put down the pills. Bruce had to stop reading. His vision was blurred. He wiped his eyes, aware that the entire studio was watching him, not caring. He continued. That night, I didn't understand why I stopped. I just knew that seeing you made me feel something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. The possibility that I could be something other than what the bullies told me I was. Over the next few months, I found your films. The Big Boss. Fist of Fury. I watched them over and over. Not just the fighting. The way you carried yourself. The pride. The dignity. The refusal to be diminished. I started to change. Not immediately. Not dramatically. But I started to believe that my face, my heritage, my identity were not curses. They were gifts. That being different made me special, not inferior. I started to fight back. Not with fists. With existence. I walked taller. I spoke louder. I refused to disappear. The bullies noticed. Some backed off. Some didn't. But it didn't matter anymore, because I knew something they didn't. I had seen Bruce Lee. I had seen what someone like me could become. And I was going to become it. Bruce set the letter down. His hands were shaking too much to hold it steady. Raymond Chow approached. Bruce, are you all right? Bruce looked at him. There were tears on his face. He didn't care. I'm fine, he said. His voice was thick. Just give me a moment. He picked up the letter again. There was more. I'm writing to you now because I heard you're making a big Hollywood film. Enter the Dragon. I heard it's going to be in theaters everywhere. Not just Asian theaters. Everywhere. And I need you to know something. There are thousands of kids like me. Tens of thousands. Maybe hundreds of thousands. Asian kids in America, in Europe, in places where we're the minority, where we're told every day that we don't belong, that we're not enough, that our faces are wrong. Most of them have never seen your films. They've never had the experience I had that night, of seeing someone like us be powerful, be heroic, be undeniable. Enter the Dragon is going to change that. For the first time, kids like me will walk into regular movie theaters, sit next to the same people who bully us at school, and watch someone who looks like us defeat everyone who stands against him. They will see what I saw that night. The possibility, the hope, the proof that we can be heroes too. Bruce couldn't continue. He folded the letter and pressed it against his chest. The studio was silent. Everyone was watching him. No one knew what to say. Finally, Bruce spoke. Play the video. Raymond hesitated. Bruce, if you need a moment. Play it. Now. The lights dimmed. The screen flickered to life. And the music began. Share and subscribe. Because what Bruce Lee experienced in the next 4 minutes would stay with him forever. The video opened with the film's iconic music. The driving percussion. The wailing guitar. The sense of something powerful being unleashed. Then the footage began. Bruce Lee on screen. Fighting. Moving. Existing with a presence that seemed to transcend the film itself. But Bruce wasn't watching himself. He was watching through David Chen's eyes. For the first time, he understood what it would feel like to be a 17-year-old boy in San Francisco. To be bullied every day. To be told you were worthless. To believe it. And then to see this. A man who looked like you. Fighting like a god. Winning against impossible odds. Standing tall. Refusing to be diminished. He watched the video through those eyes. Every punch was a message. You can fight back. Every kick was a declaration. You are not weak. Every moment of triumph was a promise. You can win. The video continued. Fight sequences from the film. Training montages. The climactic battle in the Hall of Mirrors. And Bruce Lee wept. Not discreetly. Not the controlled tears of a public figure managing his image. Real tears. The tears of a man suddenly understanding the weight of what he had been building. The video ended. The lights came up. No one spoke. Bruce sat in his chair, the letter still pressed against his chest, tears still flowing. Finally, Raymond approached. Bruce, what was in that letter? Bruce looked at him. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. A boy in San Francisco, he said slowly. 17 years old. 3 years ago, he was going to kill himself. Pills. A note. Everything prepared. His voice cracked. He turned on the television. He saw Kato. He saw me. And he put down the pills. Raymond was silent. Bruce continued. He says there are thousands like him. Hundreds of thousands. Asian kids who are bullied, who are told they're worthless, who believe it because they've never seen anyone who looks like them be powerful. He touched the letter. He says Enter the Dragon will change that. That for the first time, those kids will see themselves on movie theater screens. Not art house screens. Not foreign film screens. Regular theaters. Next to the people who bully them. He looked up at Raymond. He says the film will show them what he saw that night. The possibility. The hope. The proof that they can be heroes too. Raymond sat down slowly. He didn't speak. Bruce looked at the blank screen where the video had played. I've always known what I was fighting for, he said quietly. I've always said the right words. Representation. Pride. Breaking barriers. But I'm not sure I truly understood. He held up the letter. This is what I was fighting for. Not box office records. Not Hollywood recognition. Not proving critics wrong. His voice dropped almost to a whisper. This. A boy putting down pills because he saw someone like him refuse to be defeated. He was silent for a long moment. If Enter the Dragon does nothing else. If it fails commercially. If the critics hate it. If Hollywood dismisses it. None of that matters. Because somewhere, a 17-year-old who is going to end his life will see it. And he'll put down the pills. And he'll decide to fight. He wiped his eyes. That's why I made films. That's why I fought for every frame, every scene, every moment of representation. Not for fame. Not for money. He touched his chest. For David Chen. For everyone like him. For every kid who needs to see what I saw when I was young and struggling and wondering if my life had any meaning. He stood up. We need to get this right. Every detail. Every moment. This film is going to reach people who have never seen themselves on screen. We have to give them something worthy of their hope. The production team nodded. Something had shifted in the room. The routine final approval had become something else. Something sacred. The video was approved that day, but several small changes were requested. Moments where Bruce's face was clearer. Sequences where his triumph was more pronounced. Adjustments that most audiences would never notice, but that one 17-year-old in San Francisco would feel in his bones. Bruce kept the letter. He never spoke about it publicly. Never used it for promotion or publicity. It was too personal. Too sacred. Too important to be reduced to a marketing story. But those who knew him well said he kept it with him always. In his wallet. Close to his heart. A reminder of why the fight mattered. Of what was actually at stake. July 20th, 1973. Bruce Lee died. He was 32 years old. Enter the Dragon was released 6 days later. It became a global phenomenon. It changed cinema. It broke every barrier Bruce had fought against. But more importantly, it reached every theater in America. Every screen where a bullied kid might sit. Every seat where a 17-year-old might decide, for the first time, that his face was not a curse. Thousands of David Chen saw that film. And thousands of them decided to fight instead of surrender. To live instead of disappear. To become what Bruce Lee had shown them was possible. The music video was distributed worldwide. It played on television stations across America, Europe, Asia. It introduced Bruce Lee to audiences who had never seen a martial arts film. And somewhere in San Francisco, a 17-year-old boy named David Chen watched it. He recognized himself. He recognized the message. And he understood that the letter he had sent had reached its destination. That Bruce Lee had read his words. That his story had mattered. David Chen grew up to become a youth counselor. He spent his career helping kids who felt invisible, who were told they were worthless, who needed someone to show them what was possible. He showed them Bruce Lee films. Every one of them. And he told them the story of the night he put down the pills. Because Bruce Lee had refused to be defeated. May 3rd, 1973. Golden Harvest Studios. Hong Kong. A letter arrived at the perfect moment. A message was hidden in the music. And a man discovered why his life's work actually mattered. Not fame. Not fortune. Not Hollywood recognition. One boy. Putting down the pills. Choosing to live. That was the point. That was always the point. This story is a work of fiction inspired by real-life themes.